All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is for part 2 of 3.4. We are talking about proofs, and I know some of you guys are having your challenges, and that's good. That's fine. That's how you get better. So now there's one more piece to add to this. When you're proving things, there's one thing that comes up a lot, especially when you are talking about congruent triangles, and that is called CPCTC. And what that means is corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Basically, it's a fancy way of saying once I prove two triangles are congruent, I can say each individual little part is congruent to each other. Okay, so once I prove the big things are congruent, then I can go back and say, yeah, this little piece and this little piece are congruent. This angle and this angle are congruent. This angle, this side, and this side are congruent. So let's review proofs for a quick minute. So I want to start off with a T-chart. I want to start with my given statement. And just from my given statement, I know I can say, yes, my triangles are congruent. Triangle JKL is congruent to triangle MNO by side angle side. Okay, so that should be, you guys should at least recognize that and know that that's kind of what it means. Here, same kind of idea. Given statements, 1 KN bisects, which means to cut in half. And 2 JK is parallel to MN. That is also given. So now what does it mean to bisect? Well, if KN bisects JM and JK is parallel to MN. So if KN bisects JM, that means JL is congruent to ML. By definition of bisector. Now, remember, like we have said before, if you've got parallel lines, that means they're trying to get you to think about something. So what I would think about is this. I would think about, you know what, those two are going to be parallel because if I've got parallel lines cut like that, those two angles are going to be congruent because they are alternate interior angles. So I'm going to say angle J is congruent to angle M by alternate interior angles. All right, that's what I'm going to say. Now, what I would say next is probably going to be, you know what, these two are congruent because they're always, vertical angles are always congruent. So I would say that as angle JLK congruent to angle MLN by vertical angles. So my last statement, JKL congruent to MNL by angle, side angle. All right, so looking back at the picture, I've got two angles and one side, the side's in between, boom, there it is. So now, time to add one more piece. This is where CPCTC comes in. So now, taking a look, AC congruent to AR, they give us that, so I write given. Number 2, the hint is that it's given, so I'm going to say angle 1 congruent to angle 2. All right, they tell me that that's given. Now, they're also trying to tell me CAL, which is this angle, and RAS, which is this angle, are congruent. Why do I know they're congruent? Well, I know they're congruent because they are vertical angles. Whoop. So, why can I say these two things are congruent? So, well, look at what they told me. AC congruent to AR, angle 1 congruent to angle 2. I just showed these two were congruent to each other. So I'm going to go with angle, angle, side. Because it goes this angle, this next side, this angle, this next side. So now, once I've proven that the triangles are congruent, notice what I'm trying to show, that 3 is congruent to 4. Well, once I've shown the triangles are congruent, I can go back and say, yes, this angle is congruent to this angle. This is where CPCTC comes into play. All right, now, what does CPCTC stand for? Boom, here it is. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So if two triangles are congruent to each other, all the corresponding pieces, sides, and angles are congruent as well. So if the big things are congruent, all the little things are congruent too. So if I'm looking here, let's take a look at this thing. So SH congruent to PE given. Angle S congruent to angle P given. So now, what does that mean? Well, let's mark. SH congruent to PE. Angle S congruent to angle P. The big one, the big giveaway I'm looking at is angle 1 congruent to angle 2 by vertical angles. All right, so that is going to be boom, boom. That's going to be angle, side, angle, side. So I'm going to say, yeah, the triangles are congruent. SAH congruent to PAE by angle, side postulate. So now I've said the triangles are congruent. Now I can say, yeah, each little part is congruent. I can go back and say, yeah, this piece that I didn't prove before, this piece of SA and PA, yeah, they're congruent by CPCTC. So I've used this side, this angle, and the vertical angles to prove the triangles are congruent. Now I'm going back and saying, yeah, this piece and this piece are congruent because I've proven those. All right, so keep working with that. Come talk to me with questions. Take your time and go through it step by step. Thank you.